There's not enough room for me.
I'm Geralt.
I'm a little too
cocky.
airy.
Does
Yeah,
Geralt,
I'm a
wait,
little
does,
too airy.
does Geralt have an English accent? I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. Okay.
It's like slight though. Like Cavill has to like downplay his own.
I'm Geralt. The choice that
You're doing a great job.
That fucking sucks.
I can't even do anything, so we'll just
I'm a
just
witcher.
begin, won't we?
You're a witcher, Harry.
Boy. Welcome to the Home Buttons Game of the Year episode for the year 2019. It's currently 2020 when we're making it, but we're still really excited to tell
We
you
had to
about
wait
it.
until the end of 2019.
All right, how about we give me a fucking second to do the goddamn intro?
You had
And that's where I'll play the intro.
1 second.
We're doing things a little bit differently compared to last year. Emilio will actually get to say what his game of the year is this year, and we're just going to talk about it.
There's a lot of editing.
Yeah, I'm also
Our-
looking
our
at the
lost
wide angle. Like I
episode.
also am not going to be editing this later, and I do have my own camera that I'm going to use a lot. I'm also excited to be able to do zooms on people's facial expressions, and
Straight from 1080, we're gonna extrapolate.
yeah. I meant to print out all officially my game of the year list. So instead,
Like
just gonna
set
open
list?
it on.
Like,
I'm just gonna open it on.
Oh, how do
Google
we want to
Drive.
start? Do we want to start with like our 5 spots? Because last year I think somebody did theirs
Yeah,
backwards,
I did.
and it was
And it was bonkers.
yeah. I feel like how do we want to do this? Because like we talked about it beforehand, but I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
We're
'cause
gonna
we-
work this out on the program, of course.
Yeah, because that's what you're here for.
Yeah, we're doing a
if
lot.
anything. But I figured we could just somebody could just start, say one, and then we'll just talk.
I
about
have
it.
one that we can get out of the way because I don't think either of you played it.
Let's talk about
sure.
it.
Okay, unless you did. But I'd say it's my 5 spot, but I don't really have like an order. There's like my top 2 are my top 2, and everything else is whatever. But Sayonara
I
Wild
also have it.
Hearts
Yeah.
is my 5 spot, and I think it's a phenomenal game, and we don't have to talk too much about it, but it definitely, like, I saw a lot of reactions on the internet of people being like, there's scenes in this game that made me cry, and like there genuinely are moments in that game that I was just like crying tears of happiness. And
Is it just from how poppy and visually fun it is? Because I played it
There's
at
a
PAX
story.
with you. Oh, okay. I didn't know there
Yeah.
was like an actual story.
it's
'cause-
like a story of there's like a whole story of heartbreak and stuff like it's really good. I
Well,
mean,
it sounds nice. I
It
should
kind of,
play it.
I mean, not to the same gravity, I would say, but it kind of reaches that same niche of like a Florence, but Florence is a lot. Florence was on my Game of the Year list last year, but I didn't edit it.
just never made the cut.
So yeah, so I think for me that would probably be my number 5 spot. If you have Apple Arcade or you have a Switch, I think it's on other platform. I don't remember. I played it on Apple Arcade because I got that free month, and I played it all in one sitting in bed, and it was like I was like, I'm crying right now.
Man, yeah, I played that at PAX, I think with you, because we were just like waiting
Yeah.
to play all the games around, and your buddy was letting us into stuff,
Yeah.
which was really cool. But I like feel like if I ever actually, it's not a game that I would buy, but if I ever played it, I don't think I would ever be able to stop playing it until I finished it. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just like, have you seen any of this game?
Not really. I've seen people talk about it on
It's
Twitter.
just like
a runner.
really like
Gotcha.
beautiful people wearing like varsity jackets and like
Voguing.
weird, like voguing with like crazy like Renaissance masks, and like it's like street gangs, but like David Bowie-ized, and it looks just like
It's really good.
it looks like a wild time.
It's a lot. It's like it's a rhythm game. It's a runner. The only criticism I'll make about it is there's a lot of not sequence breaks, but like stops in action when you're playing through the first time, because it like each chapter like it ends and it gives you like a score, and it doesn't feel like it's in the right order, because once you beat the game you unlock a mode that's like the visual album mode, which is you just play through and it goes to the next level, to the next level, to the next level.
Right.
And that feels like that should be the default mode.
Yeah, and then you unlock scoring afterward.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's whatever. It's a pretty minor complaint, but that's all I have to say about Sayonara Wild Hearts. I think you should check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah.
You. Well, since you already gave us one number, do you want to go on to a fourth and see if we share it?
Well, yes, but it's another one that I don't think you guys are you guys played, but you guys
Let's
did see
get it out of the way then.
It's Hypnospace Outlaw. I finished it, and then they were gonna add more stuff to it over time. I think that there was a promise of like people were gonna make their own like chapters like in the community. I haven't seen that yet. I'm not.
That sounds cool because I know that anytime you open up a weird game to internet weirdos, they can out-weird the original creator.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I mean,
And-
that game had Granny Cream's Hot Butter Ice Cream in it.
And I haven't played that game that much, but I know that song very well and could sing it right now. But instead, we're just going to play it.
Granny Cream's hot butter ice cream. We take the hot butter, mix it with the ice cream, freeze it up cool, you can see it on your screen. Put it in your microwave, make it real hot like a soup or a dip.
Okay.
Okay.
Editing.
Yeah, editing.
Time
Amazing.
code. No, the music in that game was I think all done by Hot Dad.
Yeah, it was.
Which, if you haven't seen Hot Dad, check out his YouTube channel. He's like
It's fantastic.
incredibly talented and very funny.
Yeah.
I mean, just to kind of like quickly describe it, we have an episode of it. Maybe when we upload the description of this episode, I can link the Hypnospace Outlaw episode. But you're basically a GeoCities detective or cop, basically. Like it's like if GeoCities websites still existed in the modern era.
But if they were visited in virtual reality,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
everybody was hooked into.
Yeah, everybody's in like jacked into the same system.
Maybe it's like the state of like just how my head works,
Mm-hmm.
or like how usually video games like that go. And I'm happy it didn't go like this.
Right.
But like every 5 minutes, I was worried it was gonna like fall into a pit of scariness.
Oh yes.
Same thing.
So I
Yeah.
played it by myself, and what was it? Is it Her Story? The game where you're like, Her Story is the game where you're playing as like this woman who's like searching through all these video files.
Yeah.
It's by the same creator who did Telling Lies, which we got a copy of. We haven't checked out yet.
I forgot about that. I'm so sorry.
And like in the middle of that game, like it simulates that you're in a room looking at a computer screen, and like lightning or a light goes on at a certain point, and you just see a reflection of your character's face. But it's so terrifying.
So
We
weird.
also have an episode with that, and it scared the crap out of us.
Very weird things scare me in video games. And that's one of them.
But yeah, Hypnospace Outlaw always feels like it's going to turn into like a horror thing, and I think it's just atmospherically kind of like dreadful because you're playing an internet cop, and like anything can go wrong in the internet. There's
Right.
games like is it like Welcome to the Game?
Yeah.
And its sequel where you're just playing like somebody's searching like the dark web for
That
like
game looks
terrifying
really
things.
cool, but I'm really happy just watching people.
Yeah, I honestly feel like this is that, but for like comedy. It's a very funny game.
Yeah.
It's best described as like being a GeoCities cop. Imagine like you're just on like a faux desktop and clicking through things. You're using keywords to search web pages and like deep web pages, things that you might not be able to find immediately. It's really fun.
It really is really
It's-
good.
it's
It sounded gimmicky at the start, and then as I kept playing it, I was like, man, like the mechanics are like weirdly tight for like a web browsing policing game. Like,
Yeah.
It did something that I hadn't seen a lot of games do, and I think that even like games that are kind of to its like in that same genre of like having this like fake desktop or like this desktop analog. And I don't know, I was really fascinated by it and kind of taken away with it. I ended up finishing it. Like there's an end, but check it out for
there's
yourself.
an end, but is it really the end? Like
Yeah,
everything
check it
else
out
on
for
the
yourself.
internet?
That's on Steam.
I'm gonna,
So that's Hypnospace Outlaw, and it's very good. You good?
yeah, I'm just looking for some drink.
Okay. So I guess that's my number 4 spot, but like, I mean, I can keep going, or you guys can.
Well, let me take a look at my list, and I'll start to think about if anything's going to have some cohesion here, which I absolutely think it is. I don't have a number of anything. I just have 5 games that I like immediately thought of when I was like, what did I play and fucking love? And I could absolutely talk about Control right now.
Oh man.
Because that game was so dope. Like,
So I think just for this, I want to like preface it with, for like this game specifically, I think it's kind of imperative that we get into some of the spoilers.
Yeah.
So are we going to talk about Control right
sure.
now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's on all 3 of our lists, probably.
Yeah, so I
willing
get-
to bet, yeah.
Here's how badly I want to play talk about Control right now. I just downloaded the Expeditions update before I left. I was just like, there's more content.
it's man, like, because a weird amount of the games that are on my list I saw and played at PAX. Actually, maybe not. I think just 2. But Control piqued my interest very late. I honestly thought it looked really boring for like 3/4 of like my time like seeing it from far away. And then it didn't help that like the only time that I had to play it before it came out at PAX, it was like this weird kind of BS system of like queuing on your phone through the PlayStation app, and like no matter how fast you were, somebody was faster to play it.
Yeah, that soured that experience.
But like having played Alan Wake, I knew it was gonna be like weird.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be cool. I didn't know it was going to be super tight and like extremely fun, because it was like the same like roller coaster of how I felt about it happened while I was playing it. Like the same like I don't know if it's for me, like as I started playing it, and then as I started like unlocking more powers and like finding more out about like the world and like the storyline and how just like weird and esoteric it is. It's just like it perfectly meshed when you start to like get your flying powers and then your shield, and it's just like it all works so well together. It was just so much fun, and it like didn't take itself too seriously. There weren't like an overwhelming amount of mechanics that you have to worry about. Like it was just tight. I don't know.
I think I'm gonna plagiarize just someone else's sentiment, and then I'm gonna let you talk, like, because I did a bunch just now, but somebody said that like this feels like the game Remedy has been like trying to make for like 12 years now, and like it feels like the culmination of both like the things they wanted to do with Alan Wake and the things they wanted to do with Quantum Break, like in one game.
Yeah,
and
I fully agree. Yeah. I think the big thing about Control is that with Alan Wake, like you're playing through it and it's dated now, but like it's a cool experience and like an interesting story, but it's not like. I think the issue with Alan Wake is like it's not a universe, or at least at the time, it's not a universe you'd like care to have any other games in. Like there's nothing really cool or interesting to like discover or explore in that universe. It's kind of a straightforward story. Whereas this, it's like I was even though the story of Control is great, I was less interested in the story than I was just learning about the world that they were in.
Just looking at all the weird objects that they had in all the rooms, I was like, how can I get in there? How can I touch this? Like,
I remember like coming to work one day after having like a play session the night before and going to Joey, and I'm like, I found this room and there's like 4 things behind glass. I can't figure out how to get it, but it has one of those computer puzzle things with like the weird glyphs or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, it's like right by where they teach you how to do that stuff. So I figured you must be able to get in, and I think I found out later that might be like one of the rooms where like one of the big community secrets were or something like that. So I was like on the trail of something, but it either probably had been solved or was way over my head. Yeah. But like that's the kind of intrigue I had. I haven't played a game where I wanted to read every codex and like. Or like every file, even with all the redacted stuff.
Just to get like a little bit more of information.
Yeah, like I haven't played a game like that since BioShock Infinite for me. Like was the last game I remember. Like I listened to all the Voxophone messages and that. So
I do. Yeah, like I do feel like it has a slow start, and I think like part of the strength of it is that it's really sparse in presenting you the information that you like. That makes you want to go out and find those notes and stuff. And I think that at the beginning. Initially, like, kind of held me back a little, just because it's such a like an open-ended opening, where it's just like you're a girl going to the Bureau of Control. You're here.
Yeah.
Go in.
It's like
so you're like
the opening.
There's no like real strong hook, but then
really because
like,
I feel
to me I didn't think that.
I mean, conversely, I felt like I walked into this building, and there's nobody here. And I was like, what's going on? Like, I got to know, like, what, like, I wanted to find people. I wanted to, like, I wanted to know more about the oldest house.
Yeah. And I think that's ultimately what, like, ended up winning me over about it, was that I'm used to games within the first, like, 30 seconds being like, here's what you have to care about. Here's your hook. Let's fucking do this. And then, like, hitting the ground running. And this game was just like, take a walk around. Like, go meet the janitor and, like figure out what's going on. Because, like, it's... I don't know. I think games are getting better at like kind of trusting their players, and I don't think I was ready for that when I started playing Control. Of like they're just gonna let the story unfold in the way that you choose to kind of look for things. So I just it was great.
I can't say this about most games. It's the only game this year I think that we made a text channel just to talk about,
just
like
talk
in our
about it.
Discord. Like we were like sending each other like Reddit posts about like, oh, they discovered this or that, or I was
Yeah.
like, I found this, and I think I can intuit that like maybe this has to do with like an Alan Wake thing to some degree, and then they kind of get a lot more into.
And then you find Alan Wake.
No.
It's just
Not
like
yet.
Not
I
yet.
mean, you see him to reading a piece
Oh,
of
that's
paper,
true.
like
Yeah.
one of the journal entry things.
The
We're still in spoilers.
But like, what? Yeah, I mean, yes. Spoilers. Like, one of my favorite discoveries in that game was when our friend Josh was like, "Have you guys looked at the generator?
Yeah.
The Northmore generator."
Oh yeah, that was
And
crazy.
I was like, well, like, what do you mean? Like, what's so great about it? Well, they're like, what is it called? It's like the NS
NS.
I can't
C
remember.
or G
Yeah,
or whatever.
something
It's
like
like, and it's like, you can find out, like, once you get flight, or maybe even before that, you can
Yeah.
go up to the top of it, and you find out that it's the Northmore like sarcophagus generator, and it like coincides with things that were talked about prior in the game, where
like
it's
the
like
old director, like-
Northmore was the old director, and he was obsessed with power. And there's a line about like the job of the director is to keep the lights on.
Oh my god!
And it's like he's
now
literally
powering the fucking place.
yeah,
and keeping the lights on.
he was so obsessed with power. I think he like he maybe touched an object of power and
And it like
it
just
imbued
imbued
him or
him with
whatever.
power, like a limitless
whole thing,
energy.
it's so-
just there's so many,
that game's
and that's
full of
like
that.
literally nothing drives you there other than your curiosity, which is like the most like the coolest part about like half the puzzles and like hidden rooms and. Man, just like the destructibility, which I thought was, again, gonna be gimmicky.
Yeah.
There's a portion where I'm like in the basement, like fighting I don't even remember, like the maintenance section.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting something in a hallway and I'm like, just like hooking shit at it. And I like go to reach out for like an object and instead like a chunk of the wall rips off and like
yes.
light shines through. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And so then I take it and like kill the enemy and then blow the wall up. And there's just like another hidden hallway with like items and like pickups and shit. And then I'm just like, how many more of these are there? Like there's so many weird little like hidden rooms that you find like naturally without being like, I bet there's a hidden room there. Instead, it's like you rip a chunk off the wall and like mist filters through, and you're just like, oh shit, like there's something hidden in here.
one of my favorites, and I'm assuming they're going to come to it a little bit more in one of the future updates because it's called like Foundation or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is like you go to the foundation of the oldest house, and it's just this like almost like never-ending like room of just like
Support
support beams,
Yeah.
and like
so
on one
cool.
of them, on one of them, there's just a carving of like Yggdrasil,
Yeah.
and
Like the tree, like
yeah, like and I'm like, okay, this is awesome,
tree of
and,
life.
and I want to like know
it's
like
concrete.
and I want to know like more about that stuff,
Yeah,
and
show me
like
more of the
we're not even
brutalist
we haven't
tree
even
of life.
talked about like the best moment in
Yeah.
that entire game.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you were saying like the best part of this game is, and they're like, yeah, it is. The best part of this game is all of like the cool puzzle things, but the
Yeah.
actual best sequence of this game, hands
control.
down,
Yeah.
is the fucking ashtray maze.
Yeah.
Yes,
Where you just
absolutely.
like, you don't know what the hell is gonna happen, and you step into a hallway, and your character just puts on earphones that they've been given, and just this kick-ass rock and roll, like specially made rock and roll song for this game kicks in, and then you just go through like a puzzle combat, like mind-bending
so
sequence
good.
where
It was
this
just
is
so
dynamically
wicked.
changing depending on what part you're on.
Yeah, like
God.
you're just like you just become like this like prog rock like destroyer.
It
It's
was
like
so
incredible.
sick. It was just like
that-
moment to moment. They kept like the clock room, like you want like oh my god. I could talk endlessly about it, but
Yeah,
I don't want to make a whole episode about Control. But maybe Control should be high, like maybe I should have numbered my list and put Control way up there. 'Cause
I mean,
forgot how
full
good this
disclosure,
was.
that's
Yeah.
my number one.
It's my number
It was
two,
just-
but yeah,
it was excellent.
absolutely up there.
Man. Wow.
Yeah, so great job, Remedy. I can't wait to see the
Yeah.
rest of that.
If you haven't played Control,
Play Control.
why'd you sit through
Take
this whole
Control.
spoiler
Yeah, take
section?
Control.
But go play Control and take Control.
Yeah, that game rules.
Yeah. What's Colby? Do you want to give something off of your list?
My number 5, I know we probably have in common, you and I, Joey. But you'll probably be pissed. It's my number 5. I guess, because I am the only one who's played it, my number 4 is. Oh no, sorry, my number 5. I got confused in my own head.
Okay.
It's The Outer Worlds.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
So I didn't finish it, but I'm like on the last chapter. I just like fell off. Like
Outer Worlds not exactly what I expected it to be, but I think it's in that genre the most like solid and consistently good
Yeah.
entry.
Yeah.
it's I think what's good about it, like for me in this world of like every game is like reaching these like dozens of hours like mark, is you can just like on your first playthrough beat the Outer Worlds in like 10 to 12 hours,
Yeah.
like maybe even like
Yeah.
9. Like
I
it's,
think like
it's super short.
There are a lot of games that are like Outer Worlds, but I don't think that any of them are nearly as consistent as it was.
also,
Like,
I love the art in that game.
the art's
too.
fantastic. I thought that like there were some things that like playing it I didn't like, but by the end of it, by the time I was real strong, I was having a good time. But like I felt like I was playing it on normal, and it was really, really tough for me. But I really, really liked all of the kind of like the role-playing interactions that I felt like you weren't really getting from a lot of like the latest mainstream like role-playing game titles. I really liked all the science weapons a lot.
Oh yeah,
Like
there was
just let me like the shrink ray. By the time I got that, I was like, I'm just gonna use this the rest of the game.
those are fantastic.
And the little discombobulator stick.
Yeah.
That was that was another game that I didn't actually play at PAX, but I
saw
learned
the-
more about it at PAX.
we went to that
saw a
panel.
PAX panel for that. Yeah, I also have it on my list. I think it was also probably my number 5 if I had to number things. But it was good. I just played one other role playing game this year that just
I assume we'll
really
get to that.
really just makes me explode every time I open back up again. But yeah, like Outer Worlds, it was I think like exactly what I was looking for in that like specific type of game. Like I don't think I have the time anymore for games that are like as long as like Fallout 4 and stuff like that, and like especially games like Fallout 4 that aren't like really like role playing games.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to like see, because I think Outer Worlds did really, really well.
Yeah.
It
seems
felt
to have.
kind of like a primer to like see how
It
how
feels
they
like
could do with a bigger like set piece.
Yeah, because it wasn't like I would call that game like, I wouldn't call it AAA. I would call it like either like a single A or like not a B game, but it's like in between
I'd
there.
call it double A.
Yeah, double A. Yeah, that's a great term
Like
for it. because it's like-
it didn't feel indie. It was really polished, like really polished,
especially for like an
surprisingly.
Obsidian game. Like,
And based on what we had seen before too, because when we saw the PAX stuff, I was like I know that this is continuing to be worked on, but just like the gameplay mechanics felt really well polished, and like it felt cohesive, which was good. Like
I felt like a lot of people kind of honed in. I think it might just be because people are kind of setting like Bethesda-like and like Bethesda-like RPGs to like a higher standard in terms of like polish because of their tarnished history in the past. I know some people are like, it's cute, it's funny. I think that's old hat at this point. It's like, fix your shit.
Yeah.
But like,
When Fallout 76 came out,
I mean,
think they
especially,
really-
I mean, when you look back at like New Vegas, when like New Vegas launched and it had, a lot of problems. This game came out like in way better shape. Honestly, and almost like unspeakably good shape. There were like a couple of game-breaking bugs, and I feel like people honed in on those. There was that one at the end that people were like, you can get to this end part, and like if you walk through a certain door, you can't progress, and it's like literally like the last decision in the game or something like that.
I didn't run into anything.
And I saw like several articles about this specific bug, and then also the one about companions being able to die.
Yeah, that literally the weird like the very unique one that they like wrote a post-mortem about happened to me, where like I was talking to somebody while one of my companions was climbing a ladder, and if you talk to somebody while they're climbing a ladder, they climb it infinitely and like leave the map zone and then are killed off permanently.
Yeah,
which
which
is,
like it can't happen unless you're playing the hardest difficulty, right?
Yeah.
no, because I
Well,
was playing on normal. Oh,
they can
companions
come
can't.
back.
Right.
They can come back on lower difficulties, but the issue is the game marks them as dead. So if you haven't completed their quest, you fail that quest line permanently and get locked out of it.
Right.
That was the big issue. Didn't happen to me.
That
I know
game
it
was
happened to-
hilarious
yeah.
too.
It
I
was.
played low int.
Yeah.
And like, but also just like, oh, you're going to find this like person who's going to help you out or whatever, and your pod lands on them and kills them or whatever. It's like,
was-
stuff like
yeah.
that is like so dumb.
I know.
So funny.
It was just like it was charming. It was really really nice.
Yeah.
If I had to like lay in some criticisms on it, it mostly were things that I started to like notice over time. Like the one thing that I wasn't expecting to love as much as I did was the combat, but like the combat did feel like it had some really weird sharp difficulty spikes
Yeah.
occasionally where I just like had to like bash my head against the wall or try and like cheese some stuff. And I felt like I understood like how to build a character.
Yeah.
But then it like turned out that I wasn't properly upgrading my weapons and like scrapping and like I didn't put proper points into like actually
Right.
there were just some like weird like weapon upgrade mechanics that like I didn't feel were really well fleshed out. And then the primary criticism I had was that I felt like there were a lot of skill checks, but there weren't enough to like incentivize really maxing out a skill until the very, very end. But even then, it was like a skill check. Like I think I got skill checks of like 80s and above on like side quests, and then main quests it was like 50. I passed this door and don't have to fight anybody, or like 75, and I'm like I must beat 110 right now with bonuses.
Well,
so
and
I'm
to
just
speak to the
coasting
like
through.
the difficulty curve, like I think that game, I didn't play on a harder difficulty, but like, and I heard this echoed a little bit too, is that like the game, like the first like couple hours are like in comparison, I'm not saying it's like the hardest thing ever, but are like way harder than after the first like
no,
few
that's
hours.
absolutely
It's like
true.
it's like difficult and then just easy.
Yeah, because by the time I got to the end, I like, and also my companions were like dying all the time and stuff like that. But by the time I got to like the last couple level or the last like 1 or 2 planets that I had to go to, I had eventually figured out like how to really like load out my companions and to upgrade my companions' gear too, because I kept forgetting to do that.
Yeah.
It was just little things that I felt like could have been like streamlined into like one menu to like upgrade, and like there could have been ways to better explain that kind of stuff, but it was nothing that made me ever want to stop playing.
Yeah. No,
It
I
was
was
just like I have to like challenge.
It felt like
or-
to me, it's like a very good first act of
Yes.
whatever they're
Yes.
like working.
I
'Cause
I
love
would be
the
so
ending.
happy to see an Outer Worlds too.
Yeah,
I
I mean, they're
loved
doing
the
the
ending. I
they're
was
doing
very
the
excited
expansion
about
pack
it.
to
Okay,
it
I forgot about that.
this year.
I didn't know about that actually. That's very exciting.
Yeah, I told you. But anyway,
I probably didn't listen.
it has a lot of issues, but it feels like those are things that will be ironed out
Yeah.
for, future entries in the series.
Right.
Which, that's fine. But the world that they created is so cool and so nice and like funny and already has so much personality.
Oh man, and the writing was just
Yeah.
really good.
I
Like,
honestly love seeing a non-Fallout Obsidian game.
yes,
Like
where they can just make up their own stuff.
like, but
it was
yeah, but
just-
it's a spiritual successor. You know? It's like
yeah.
it's so because I mean I'm not the biggest like New Vegas fan, but I will always concede that New Vegas is like the funniest Fallout game.
I was about to
Easily the funniest.
Shed that blood I was telling
well,
about earlier.
New Vegas has the best writing, I think. Like at least in that era. Like,
Yeah.
but it's hilarious, and I loved playing low int in New Vegas, and I loved playing low int in Outer Worlds. Like, yeah.
I got to do a low intelligence run. I tried to play like my like roguish, like chaotic neutral kind of guy who like who just like will punch people if he doesn't like them, but like also save a town and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was like it finally felt like a game that could let you actually do that and not like punish you for it for not leaning in like either direction. That's one of the things I also felt they did really well was like give you like maybe not as many skill checks, but also a good, nice moral variance that you can choose throughout the game.
Yeah, the
and make
moral
logical
decisions were
and
like-
not just like good, neutral, evil. But like
Yeah, and I also heard like people who are a little harder on the game were like, oh, these decisions didn't really actually feel like they said like it was shitty because it always ended up like negatively affecting you in some way. I was like, well, that's what makes the decisions difficult.
right, yeah.
Like I don't think that there is like
there's no easy choices where you get benefits from both.
like
it has
it's
to-
this game's like not worth spoiling because it's so short. So I would just say like the intro zone of like you're between the corporation and like the independent people, and it's just like the moral decision is like somebody seems to be a lot more out for blood than the other person, but the corporation is just a corporation. You know, the game is anti-corporate by it's
unless you join the corporate.
yeah, well, exactly.
Like,
I mean, it
awesome
can
that you
be either,
like,
but like the actual, I mean, from my perspective, I think that the game like doesn't glorify, you know, consumerism like in a positive light. Like, you know, I don't want to live in that opening town. Like, it's depressing as hell.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, you know, the whole Spacer's Choice stuff is like that opening guy. That guy's like, oh, I can't even. He's dying, and he's like, I can't look at me. Can't even deliver a slogan well. You know?
Like, if you have the competitor's medicine, you'll have to pass a speech check in order to like give this man the medicine, because it's like he's like, I don't work for them.
Yeah,
I can't take that.
Yeah,
medicine.
like that's like it's scary in that sense, but it's also like very funny because I think
There's a lot of
it's
really good
painting
stuff
it in a lot more of a lighthearted way. I know some people have said it's you know, it's kind of like, you know, a company that's funded and fueled by big business, you know, making poor remarks on you know, on that is kind of like an empty thing, but I'm like, whatever. Like, I think it's, you know, it's an art form, and it's entertaining regardless. And I think that, you know, the message is fun, and you know, you could also just not think about it and make the decision.
You could just literally kill everybody in the game.
Yeah, except one character. I thought they said it was like one NPC cannot die.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
But I don't know, the loading screen that pops up if you're just killing everybody and not doing any quests is awesome. It's like a man like climbing over a town on fire that's made of stars blending in from the background of the sky with just like white eyes. And it's
You're
like,
gonna put this up on the screen?
It's like, yeah, I'll put it up on screen. It's like, beware the mysterious stranger, or not mysterious stranger, but like something like that. And I looked at it and was like, that's really fucking cool. It's also kind of scary looking, like, but it looks really, it's a really good illustration. There's like people like running and like cowering in the background. It's very, very good.
Well,
Yeah, and that's I mean, unless we have anything else to say, that's
it's just that's what it's number 5 on my list. It's a solid RPG, a lot of flaws though, but I mean, super fun.
Yep. I can talk about a game that I know is not on either of your lists because you guys can't play it.
Death and Destruction,
Don't tell
Stalk
me
the
what
Frontier.
I can't do.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's a great.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna take it and throw it up on screen.
Thank you.
Again, even though I was supposed to show it earlier.
So that's
That's outer
So what's
worlds.
What's the game we can't play?
the game
Joey?
that you can't play that you played a little bit of and you haven't played yet that I haven't played a lot of is Boneworks.
oh
That made my top 5 this year.
Damn.
Solely
want to.
because it is Boneworks is a virtual reality game. It is a I got a virtual reality headset this year, and it's very exciting.
Shouts to Renee.
Shout out to Renee.
and 5.
Yeah, and Vive. Thanks, Vive. And Mountain Dew. But it's this like fully physically simulated virtual reality game, and I mean like you've got like a body in game and you've got like arms that are attached to hands. It's not just like floating hands. And if you like hit anything in the game and actually your hands hit it, and you can like flip tables and like knock shit off shelves. And it's like I played like 6 hours of the opening zone because like every time I would play it, it would be like me showing it to somebody. So I got really like, it took me a long time to actually get to where the game begins. And then it took me even longer to actually like get used to the movement and the controls because it's really disorienting at first. But then once I started finally like playing it at home and like having my earbuds in and just like playing it by myself and like getting immersed, it was like really fucking cool. Like to the point where I like it's really high on my game of the year list because it's like I haven't played anything that makes me feel that fucking cool. Even super hot VR. Like there are some moments now in Boneworks where maybe I'll just throw in a clip of the thing that happened with the VR headset, but then like when you finally like get guns and like feel comfortable like aiming and shooting and like reloading and moving and crouching in the real world all at the same time, it is like, and activating slow motion. And like there's a moment where I have like a rifle and you're in this long hallway and there's like garbage containers and like shipping containers and there's enemies attacking you from both sides coming in. So you're like shooting at one thing and then like reloading and like dropping your gun and pulling out another gun to like get the other guys behind you. and I run out of ammo on my rifle. And as I'm reloading it, a guy comes around the corner and like raises his gun to shoot at me, and I just throw my rifle at him, and it hits him and like staggers him. And as it does that, I go into slow motion and like pull my gun out and just like headshot him.
Oh,
and I was
my
like,
God.
that was the coolest fucking thing of all time. Like I was like in my living room, like jumping up and down and shit. And
I can see it.
Like, and it was like I was like, yes! Like, why wasn't I recording? So now every time I play, I stream it so I can record it. And it's like there's a moment where I'm like trying to like pick up cinder blocks and like recreate a moment from the trailer where you like drop a cinder block on an enemy. And so I do it 3 times and miss every fucking time. And I'm streaming it for Anders, and I'm just like, fuck it. So I take out my crowbar and jump off, go into slow motion, and like pierce it through the guy. And like Anders was like, that was so fucking cool. Like it's just, there's just like, once you finally get used to the locomotion and like the weird like physical simulation and stuff going on, and I hope once I get better controllers, it'll be even better. It's like, it's transcendent. It is so cool.
Though I will say you do have the Vive ones are are very good controllers. They're just like they're much earlier.
I just want to be able to let go and be able to grip things. The way that you grab things is you can't like click and then lock it. So when you're gripping things, you have to hold onto the grip button. So it's like
can be pretty tiring.
It's really tiring, especially when you're using a sledgehammer, because they make you like, there's so much physical calculation going on. They like it legitimately works better if you pretend things you're holding are heavy. Like I don't know how they do it, but when you're holding a sledgehammer and you go like this, and like hit like that, it works better than if you just cheese it and try to like hit them.
Do it super fast.
It's so weird.
I'm guessing there's probably just like speed limits for everything. Like there's like no way somebody would be able to swing X weight this fast.
Yeah, it's just such a fascinating game, and it's just like I wasn't expecting to be able to play a VR game where I can like jump and like grab the top of a shelf and like pull myself up into the air and like knock things off the top.
God,
and
I
then,
can't
like,
wait to try this thing.
Throw myself off and then punch the box to open it. It's just like it's crazy. Like I haven't even finished it. I'm maybe 10 hours into it, and like 8 of that was like doing the tutorial and then getting used to it. But like the level I just went into, I'm in a sewer and I got a flashlight and I'm freaking out about it because it's so cool. You can like attach it to your head, so wherever you're looking, you like have the light pointing, but then you can also do the straight up like tactical pistol shit with it because you can flip the direction you're holding it. It's like I feel like it's the game that was like really like the first really cool VR game.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I bought it like immediately when I got my headset, and it's just so cool.
I'm happy about that because I'm happy to hear that because I want to try it out very badly.
Yeah,
and
it's really cool.
I know that there's a lot of overlap between Boneworks developers and Valve.
Yeah.
Because they were working together for Alex.
Yeah, I'm really hoping Alex goes higher than this, because if it does, I'm a VR dude forever.
We're talking about last year's games, but this gives me hope for Half-Life Alex.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Which I will absolutely be playing.
Yeah, it was. I hope that there's something that gives you like the full body support though, because I feel like that actually like adds so much more to it. It's kind of wonky when you're. The only thing I've noticed is when you're going backwards, it looks ridiculous. But otherwise, it's really really.
You played a small amount of it. Did you have any comments on it?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was super skeptical about VR games for a long time, and then I played Boneworks the day you got it, and I was playing through the tutorial. And it is like that thing you were talking about, where like if you pretend an object is heavy, it works better.
Yeah.
And I got to a specific part in the tutorial where it was just like a lineup of like large objects with a sign that said, if you pretend it's actually heavy, it'll be easier to move.
Yeah.
And I was like,
really? Like.
Sure, game, whatever. And I like went up and like tried to grab a big ball, and like it wasn't moving.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Okay, like, and I think I started like walking away because I was like, I don't care because we can just skip this. And I kind of like went back and I was like, well, what if I
like, put both hands on it?
And I like went under and I like crouched and like lifted it,
tense your muscles a bit, and
I was like, fuck.
It's like, dude, like leverage works in like just the way that you would like think like, okay, I need to like. Just for instance, there was a puzzle that I was doing where there's like a land bridge with little hooks underneath it, and there's a chain link attached to it. And on that chain link is another chain link with a big weighted box. And you have to get the bridge pulled over to the other side of the room and then lowered lower than it currently can go with the weighted box. but in the middle of the room there's a huge like garbage container with like a pallet loader, and the pallet loaders and shit actually work. So like the thing that I thought would work was I'm gonna take this chain link, I'm gonna take the weighted part off it, I'm gonna take this other really long chain link that's like over in the corner, hook it onto that, and then hook those onto the garbage container, and then pallet load the garbage container into the pit, dragging the bridge with me, and it fucking worked.
That's so
I was
cool.
like, that's so cool, because like that's what I would think you could do in real life, because I didn't think, I did it a second time, and you can just grab it and pull it over. But the fact that I could like put these chain links together with like my actual like hands, or like what it felt like would be my hands, and then like using the weighted block and like carrying it over, and then like grabbing the bottom of it and like the chain and like hooking it onto it. It was like so cool.
Gamers.
It was just like normal physics, but it was just so fucking cool. It was like playing Half-Life 2 again, which is weird because a lot of people think that Boneworks is the secret Half-Life game, which it kind of is.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll get the art
no
style
vortigaunts,
and the
but-
physics was giving me that vibe
And
for
the
sure.
ammo boxes and the crowbar. Like,
Yeah,
it's
the
just,
crowbar.
yeah. But
crowbar.
anyway, it's
Acrobat.
Crobat. Oh, man. It's just
Crobat.
so cool. I want to play it now. Ah!
All right. So that's
Another VR
Boneworks.
I-
Is that going to
I'm
be
gonna take
is
off
that the
my-
only VR game that's going to hit our list today?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
the other games
just,
are cool, but they weren't as like holy shit as Boneworks was.
just to say, like, I think the convincing moment for me that like VR had potential was like the first time I played like Beat Saber on an Index,
I'm
and I
getting the
could
index controllers.
and I could see my full periphery, and I was like in it. I felt like I was in that space, and I was like, this VR makes sense to me now.
It's crazy.
I get it.
It's really, really cool.
Like I think Beat Saber is one of those games that like has longevity in that space, and I think that like other games that do like I don't think anybody can really like make a better rhythm game except maybe that one that's gun rhythm.
Audica. I bought
is
it
that
and
what
then I
it's called?
returned it.
No.
So.
No, not
Oh,
the
you're thinking of Pistol Whip.
Pistol Whip.
Audica's also a gun thing. It's made by Harmonix, and I liked it, but I didn't love the music, and there's no mod tools.
But yeah, that Pistol Whip looked amazing, and I saw that. But
While we're kind of in a VR space, I did also get, it's not on my Game of the Year list, I don't even think it came out in 2019, but I got Skyrim VR too, and I modded it to have full body support and like arms and stuff like that, and it's like also extremely cool.
I heard it's good.
It just doesn't have the same physical
But it's just like
interaction
Skyrim
stuff
again.
like with our new Jade plant.
Thank you.
But yeah, Boneworks is so sick.
Yeah. Look out for us. We'll probably do an episode with Half-Life Alyx in a couple months when that comes out.
Maybe Boneworks double feature.
Yeah.
Compare and contrast.
Maybe I won't want to do anything else but play Half-Life Alyx.
Maybe we have to prep for Alex by playing through Boneworks.
Yeah, we'll do
Yeah, there's some important lore happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
That's 3 of my games of the year.
Colby, do you have one that you'd like
Let's
to?
see. Yeah, I can talk about Sekiro because I don't think you guys.
No,
Yeah, you
I've
can
been
play
like
that.
hankering for it. I want
Yeah.
to play it.
So Sekiro, I mean, it came out like beginning of this year. I genuinely forgot it came out in 2019 until I was looking at other Game of the Year lists. Man, that game. I've enjoyed Dark Souls games. Out of all of them, Bloodborne I think is my favorite. But like, I never like loved them.
Yeah.
I never felt any like need to like play through. Like once I hit like an obstacle that I felt wasn't fair, I was kind of like, all right, I'm done. Like I'm not like angry. I'm just like over
It's
it.
like I don't want to do this anymore.
Sekiro, what they did, they simplified like all of the just kind of like needless clutter in that game, like all the different like weapons and craziness and combos and builds and everything. They just made it. You were just a guy with a katana, and you're working your way through. And instead of just like learning like animation beats, no, I shouldn't use beats because I was about to say beats. But instead of learning what like part in an animation you can dodge through or block or parry, it's like you learn like the rhythm of an enemy's attacks, and you just use one button to block it, and that's all you do, and then you wait for an opening, and it's so simplistic and it feels so good.
Yeah, you're so right, because like that's the one thing that I don't like about Dark Souls, because I've tried to play tried to play Dark Souls 1 and 3. I tried to play Bloodborne, and I'm like not a huge fan because I just don't like dodging like through enemies to like. I just don't. I don't know. It was weird because I liked it in God of War, but I didn't love it in Dark Souls. But like the animation like triggering like having to like dodge and like learn their like when their tail flicks they're gonna do this like big stomp thing. Like when I played Sekiro, I was like I have to block when he's about to hit me.
Yeah.
Well, and like also like there's one thing I want to like bring up too is like a lot of people talk about like the Soulsborne genre as if it's the only genre that has like deliberate animations and like combat animations and like learning combat patterns from enemies. But like I also like to draw the comparison because I haven't played like any Dark Souls games or any Soulsborne games, but I would say like they're very similar to like in terms of gameplay, like a Monster Hunter, like in terms of like learning patterns and stuff like that. And one criticism I can always make about Monster Hunter, which a lot of people I consider a bonus or might consider like something they enjoy about it, is how much complexity there is to the weapons, the armor sets, like and like the items and stuff like that. And it's almost a freeing idea in my head to say, what if we stripped all of that away and it was just a weapon and an enemy? And like that, and I guess they added a system to Sekiro with what is it? Is it posture or whatever? Which is a new thing to that.
Yeah,
franchise.
like replaces stamina, but works slightly different.
Yeah, and I think that sounded interesting to me. It's when your posture meter runs out, it leaves you open, right? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it just like to me when we played it on the episode that we played it on, I remember we played it very.
Oh right, yeah.
It was a while ago, but it was. I remember like, and this isn't to like credit like because I'm not very good at those kind of games, but just to like credit how like good of a like blocking and combat system. You were talking about how like tough it was, and I was like, give me the controller.
Yeah.
And then we play, and I'm fighting something, and it's just like block, 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 killed something, and I'm just like, this game rules, because it was just like it was so like instantly you get it. And there's no like more
also a grappling
to it.
hook.
Yeah, and a grappling hook
was
sick.
cool.
But like it's just like if you have a katana and you need to block, it's not about reading the animation. It's like when is the enemy gonna like hit you perfectly to block it? And I don't know if that makes more sense to me than like having to read through an animation and find the frame that it's gonna like. That's when I need to like dodge to the side and then like strike it again. But it just felt more like just. I don't know, just so tight.
We watched a lot of I watched a lot of videos of some of those bosses too, and like I feel like the one that's become the most famous is
that big monkey.
The big monkey or ape or whatever. Guardian ape with the you beat him and then he comes back to life without his head or whatever, and like is he holding his head or whatever?
Yeah, he's holding his head. He's like holding the hair and he's got the head dangling.
Yeah,
so cool.
and like you have to fight him again, and he's like not easy. Like
No.
I've heard.
Yeah, not at all.
And I watched some streamers play it, and it took them like some people like hours to beat some of those bosses, and that honestly seemed really appealing to me because I don't know, like sometimes in Monster Hunter I would spend hours trying to beat some monsters, just trying to get a good party for those.
I think that's where I would start to fall off these games because I don't love like. I think that's where I like really don't like playing these games because I don't love like learning and new, like getting that stuck on something where it's like now I just need to like get to the point where I like get to where I died last time and get a little bit further so I can kind of see what he does next and then okay, let's go do that again. Like when it takes. But I also haven't played Sekiro, so I don't know. Because when that happened to me on Dark Souls, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna go play something else that's a little bit easier and more fun.
But like, I mean, I guess there's like, I've heard a lot of people, and maybe you'll agree with the sentiment of like a lot of what that draws people into Sekiro is you kind of get like a really good rhythm with like how that combat works.
Yeah, like
and you understand.
I was gonna say,
it's like
somebody
instantly
said
gratifying.
when I was listening to Giant Bomb's Game of the Year they were just talking about this game on one of the episodes, and I think it was Brad or someone who said like they gave me the tutorial to like step on someone's sword or whatever, and they were like, I thought I would never use it because it was stupid and I would never have to learn it. And they were like, and then eventually I had to learn it, and then I got really damn good at it.
Yep.
That's
what I was gonna say actually. In accordance with like the Guardian Ape fight, it's like one of the only games where I've been able, because it only has one weapon, and you just have to learn how to use that weapon really well. It's probably the only game where like I felt like I was getting better at it, like
so
for
cool.
sure,
Yeah.
getting better. Especially with that, like you beat Guardian Ape, then he comes back and he's stronger.
Yeah.
Then it's supposed to be like an hour or two, depending on how you play the game. But I'd accidentally done everything before Guardian Ape. You go into a cave and you fight two of them at the same time,
Yeah, that's
and like you're immediately like, fuck.
Yeah.
But like I was like, I just played against this guy for like 3 hours. I know his entire like moveset. I know his rhythm, and I did it. And I was like,
oh, that was
that
easy.
was awesome.
That was so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, like,
That's so cool. Yeah.
by the time I got to the final boss in that game, which people think is like insanely hard, I did it in like 2 tries because I just like kept playing that. I think I beat that game. Oh, I was house sitting for my parents. I went home and then I was just home alone. I just played that game basically straight until I beat it. And by the time I got to the ending, I was just like so fucking comfortable with the combat system that I just blew through the final boss.
I want to play this game so bad now.
yeah. Hey, Nate, stay in Mexico. I'm accessing that Steam family share tonight.
But like it also has this you know this beautiful art and like a beautiful setting of like the like a fantasy feudal Japan,
Yeah.
right? And like that
Yeah.
whole thing
As
is
soon as you panned over and showed like the snake skin like hanging off of like this like giant plateau with like a Shinto temple on top, I'm like, yeah, this is so sick. Like it's like, where's that snake? Like what? And like I love that kind of scale, and also like that like architecture and design is a
Bazinga.
okay.
Big snake.
God, I hate it.
Big snake.
It's just so sick. Big snake.
Yeah.
Big snake make Joey happy.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
Oh,
about
the other thing I want to say about it is I think something that made me appreciate it a lot more towards the end of this year, playing Jedi Fallen Order and realizing that they, at some point in development, decided to just try and copy a lot of Sekiro and didn't pull it off to the same degree that From Software did.
Oh man.
And I just like, it made me so much more aware of how well that game is made.
There's so much there's so much that goes into like the development of just like how like a game feels and stuff like that. And I remember like when I first like had that realization when I played a bunch of Samurai Gun and then like talked to the person who like was the game field director for that game who made or who was like hired on Hyper Light Drifter to do all the game feel for that game. And I was like, yeah, like that dude does a lot to make a game feel tight. And like that, you know, that's kind of like, I feel like when I watched Jedi Fallen Order, it just looked like not looser, but like just not as like it didn't seem to me like it felt like you were as in tune with the weapon. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it
I feel
it felt there. I haven't played it, but it felt kind of disconnected. Not 100%, but like Sekiro just to me seems tactile and tight. And yeah, I need to play that game. I very badly want to. It's on my list. On my list of games to play, not my game of the year.
Dang. I gotta
All
play
right,
that game.
and that's Sekiro.
I have too many games to play.
And now we move on to
I got 2 more games. One of them I still haven't finished, but it's like, even now, which one's number 1? Which one's number 1?
I don't know which one you didn't finish now.
I'm
And is it?
Well, I know what my actual number.
I know what your
I
number
haven't
one
finished
is.
Disco Elysium yet, but it's probably my number 2.
I know what your number 1 is.
Oh yeah, dude, everybody does.
I also watched the documentary. We'll get to. Well, we'll get to that in a minute because I think that game did.
Well, because did all 3 of us? Let's. My number 2 one is Disco Elysium, and my number 1 is. Did all 3 of us play Outer Wilds?
I didn't. I don't know. I have not played it.
Oh man.
I haven't
my number
installed.
Man, it's so good.
I know. Okay. I will say this. I played the demo we played at PAX, but
Yeah.
I have not. I still haven't played it.
No, we played it here.
I know a majority of like the beats and stuff like that, and like
Well, let's
kind
talk
of the
about Disco Elysium then. Sure.
Okay, sure.
Well, because I don't know which one. I could definitely talk. I've finished Outer Wilds.
Yeah, go for it.
I didn't finish Disco Elysium yet.
That's okay. I mean,
I did look up how much longer I have in Disco Elysium, and I have significantly less than I thought I did, which is an awesome sign because I really like where I'm at right now, and it's ramping up real cool. So I don't know. I guess what should I talk about first?
we can
Probably
talk about
Disco.
Disco. Yeah.
Man, talk about like a stroke of luck completely, because I opened up one day, I'm online and I open up GOG, and I'm like, there's a new RPG out. It looks cool. I literally just bought it without looking up like anything into it. I just saw that it was like it had this cool like detective storyline set in like a cool fictional like industrial like kind of Dishonored-esque but like more Eastern European feel. And then I started playing it and I was like, I need to tell everybody on earth about this fucking game because it's amazing. It was like it's a role-playing game. And now I'm at the point where I recognize it more as like it's less of the role-playing games that we're used to, like Pillars of Eternity and like Fallout and stuff like that. It's definitely leaning a little bit more towards like the visual novel type thing, but it has like so much care put into like everything.
Yeah, this is the game that like
It is
so, your top two games are like the games that like I have not stopped hearing about for the past 2 months.
And I'm so happy because I found them before they got big, so I feel like a total fucking hipster about it. But like Disco was just, it's a role-playing game where like you choose your stats like any other like role-playing game, and then depending on your stats, you get a string of like 6 cards in each like stat group. So if I'm putting a lot of points into, I can't remember the actual stat names, but if I put a ton of stats into like your emotional strength and like your headiness kind of, not your intelligence.
Your psyche.
Yeah. You are able to like increase more points of specific like character traits of yourself that all act internally, like empathy and
that game is like from like what I've seen, because I've barely seen any, but like on the surface that game is super in tune with like with at least like basic concepts of psychology.
Yeah,
and like
it's the way like I read a lot about it online where they like a method in psychology to deal with like thoughts that you're having in your own head is to compartmentalize and to treat them as individual like characters almost. And that's exactly the way that the game takes all of your character traits.
The art for the different like
where it's for all of your character traits all prompt specific individual characters internally that come up during discussions. And then depending on what combination of internal psyche is coming out at you, you may also develop specific thoughts. And those thoughts become class decisions that determine your like stat bonuses. Like if you're a communist, you like if you start talking with people and your brain starts going into the communist direction based on your psyche choices and your character, that's all happening internally. You start to get thoughts of like, maybe I am a communist and maybe this is the right way to go. And that also, depending on what thoughts you take, also open up different dialogue choices with characters that are like small and large and like all over. And then those dialogue options open up even more thoughts that you can take and like internalize. And it's just like, it's crazy. It's
pretty deep.
I accidentally made my character a racist to get through a locked door.
Oh,
It's also funny. This game is funny.
It's
not
incredibly
being
funny.
racist. Racism is not funny.
The crazy thing is that it's incredibly funny, but it's also like fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I've been like I have sat there with minor characters and straight up read dialogue for 45 minutes.
We watched our friend Trevor try and jump over a ledge
And
for
oh yeah, was he trying to get to like where the coat was?
for like 30 minutes he just kept not even that long. It was like 10 minutes. He was just scumming until he got the perfect roll. But when you roll in that game, like it's 2d6, right? And you get to see what you rolled, and it's like, I think that's really neat. Like everything that you do is
it's just the way that like
roll.
I like most role-playing games, when you choose a character trait, it will affect your dialogue choices. This gives you like so much more insight into the way that your character, who is a pre-established character before the game starts, and then you go on a fucking bender and completely lose your mind. So like you're a blank slate at the start of the game, but as you meet more people, they start to fill in holes in your memory that you can either treat as the truth or take as like hearsay, or you can say that's not me anymore. And then like all of those choices, like every single one matters. And it's like, there are games that I think dream of being able to say that all of their choices matter, and this one like legitimately down to like single dialogue choices will like, if you take a pen from somebody, some totally unconnected character down the line is like, yeah, like I don't have anything to sign this piece of paper with, and you can be like, oh, hold on a second, I got this pen that I only got because I'm an empathetic person and I really drilled down on this person's connection to the police force in the area that I only got because of my like intelligence and visual calculus that I only got because of this thought that got brought up by talking to somebody else over here. Like, it's just mind-boggling.
Why is it called Disco Elysium?
Don't tell us.
I cannot tell you because it actually has to do with part of like your internal psyche and where you're at right now.
Okay.
I've started getting where I am.
You
I've
start
gotten
getting little
tastes
dribbles of the
it,
words
yeah.
disco and the words Elysium, and they
Yeah.
all start kind of coming together, and eventually, like, you can choose to understand.
The game
what
only takes
things-
place in like 3 days, doesn't it?
It can. I think the maximum amount of time that you can do is like 11 days, and theoretically
'Cause you
you
can
can
fail
beat the
if you take
game
too long.
in like 4
You
days.
have amnesia, right? Isn't that like, aren't you a detective with amnesia?
You don't
or
have it's less like,
like short-
amnesia, and it's more you literally drank and did so many fucking drugs that your mind was erased.
Gotcha.
Like, it is like you don't even remember like what you look like. You don't remember what basic concepts.
Right, you
of
look
the
in the
world
mirror,
are.
right, in like the beginning.
Like, you talk to somebody and you're like, okay, cool. What's time? and then you just can read for 30 minutes about you struggling to understand the concept of time. And eventually they're just like, fuck it, it's a human construct anyway. It doesn't fucking matter. And just like,
I want to go on that just real quick because you have a supporting character,
yeah.
Kim
Oh,
Kazuragi, who
It's the fucking best.
is such a good character because like at first like he's so annoyed by you and like you just being a fuck up, and then he's kind of like intrigued when he begins to believe that you
Yeah.
have lost your mind.
Yeah.
And then he starts as a cop using it to his advantage where he's like, I'm gonna let my crazy psycho partner
Yeah.
talk to these people about time for 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna swoop in with like a hard-hitting investigative question.
Yeah, but there's
it's so
like,
good.
you can play 24 hours of the day, but you can go to sleep at certain points, and your partner like will want to go to bed at a certain time. So like if you want to like go and talk to somebody on your own, you unlock special dialogue options that you don't get if your partner's with you. So there's totally sections of the game where like either your partner might get sent away for something, or you just decide to go somewhere without him and stuff like that. Where I was talking to like Josh and some other people that have played it, and they got like not just like vaguely different things, but like very different choices and like dialogue options and like character things that happen. It's like, it's just like every time I play it for like 4 or 5 hours at a time, and then I'm like, I'm gonna take a little break, and then I like am apprehensive about getting back into it, and then I play, and then like literally the next person I'm talking to, I'm like, this is some of the best fucking writing that I've read like in a book in a long time.
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
What are you saying about video games, Joey? That they
Man,
can't be as
video
well
games aren't fucking literature, and this one is. It's like it's
that's fair.
crazy. Like it's really really good, and it depending on how you build your character, I think it can cater to a lot of different people, specifically based on the fact that like all of the character role playing is all internally and based off of like concepts of psychology.
Yep.
It's just like, man. And if you think that game's good,
Can I talk about a game?
yeah, go for it.
I'm going to talk about the last two on my list because one of them is going to be a pretty short breath, and the other one I think can open up a little bit of discussion. But my number 3 was this year's entry in the Call of Duty series. Despite me having like a slew of issues with aspects of the actual campaign, I think I would just separate in my mind the campaign as something I don't even care about at this point, and just say like that game's multiplayer is like one that I think about a lot. I've been playing a lot more Destiny lately than like anything else. Like I'm just like I need to like chill out with that game for a bit. But like Call of Duty is like this year's entry. I just like haven't been able to stop thinking about it. But I mean, if you've seen a Call of Duty before, you know what it is. It's very tight. They have a new. I think it's a new engine. Like it looks totally different. They have some new modes, and I'm happy they're back in the modern.
It's still
setting.
the Quake 2 engine.
I don't.
kidding.
No, yeah, I don't
I'm pretty sure it's not.
yeah, I don't think it is anymore. But I think I think at least up until I don't want to speak out of turn, but maybe like up until Black Ops 4, it still was heavily modified like Quake 2.
Which is wild.
But yeah, no, I absolutely adore the multiplayer in that game. I'm not giving it enough as much time as I'd like to, but it's really good. And I will say, to the campaign's credit, there are some very well-made set pieces in that campaign.
Yeah, I did watch a lot of the campaign on YouTube because I knew I probably wasn't going to pick this game up. But some of the campaign set pieces, I'm like, that game fucking looks incredible.
Yeah. That game has won
They got
a
that
few.
Activision
I would say
money.
a handful of like really good moments in the campaign that are kind of tarnished by some other moments, unfortunately. I still have to put it up there because as far as being a game goes, it is like just for me, from my objective point of view, I guess, which would just make it subjective. Just a very fun multiplayer romp.
Yeah.
It also has like its Battlefield-esque domination mode, which is really fun.
They finally are doing.
So
Battlefield to me has always been the primary like competitor for Call of Duty. I felt like they always like really kind of outshine. Well, that just is my style of gameplay more. I think the Battlefield series than Call of Duty, but like I think they're finally like Call of Duty's been pretty stagnant for like a really long time to me.
Well,
And
Call
I
of Duty
feel
still hits scan though.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing. It's like I don't think on even the large scale maps, I still think all the weapons are hit scan.
Gotcha.
So
It just it feels like they're going in the right direction with it.
in Black Ops 4, if you were playing Blackout mode, which was their battle royale mode, not the weapons were not all hit scan.
Gotcha.
And that was the first time I think a Call of Duty ever did that ballistics model. But so far, which there is, I think, a battle royale mode coming to this that has been leaked. But
Yeah, they keep leaking stuff
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
and
Do the
nothing.
snipers in multiplayer still one-shot kill you in the torso?
it depending on the sniper, depending on the actual customization for the weapons is so in depth at this point that
It
it's
does
not
look
a,
wicked.
yeah.
Every time I see you like looking at like the loadout screens, I'm just like, that looks so cool.
Yeah, no, everything
It's like
in it,
Crisis.
like honestly, for me, it's like eye candy. Like I'm just like looking at like all of this like neat tech and stuff like that. Some of the microtransaction stuff has been a little bit, but like there hasn't been a lot of it. Or fortunately, like it's been like they put it in your face on like an update screen. But like I've looked at it all, and it's like none of it like looks like I don't want any of it. Like I've looked at it, it's like this is okay.
You don't want the Four Loco can skins?
Yeah, no, or like the
like-
watches, which we talked about, like that, like that
Watermelon
stuff is
camouflage.
like I got my free watch for having the battle pass that they gave me points for, so like
Gotcha.
I'm like happy with that, and I don't even know how to. I haven't even learned what hotkey it is to look at my watch if there is one. So yeah, so that's Call of Duty, and then I wanted to just quickly move right into my number 2 for this year, which was pretty.
I'm just waiting for it.
Before I'm going to say it in a second, but I want to preface it with this game almost like didn't make it into my list because I very surprisingly made like there's a reality where I did not finish this game this year or at all, and it's Kingdom Hearts 3. No, Joey.
I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2 yet.
Kingdom Hearts 3 was a lot for me personally, because I know you're going to want to talk about this game too. A lot of nothing and like capped off with a lot of everything. Like the last 2 hours of that game, like narratively, I would say the actual gameplay stuff leading up to it is all like, I think they did a lot of really interesting stuff, and I thought that the planets were really, really visually interesting. I think what happened for me though was I fell off of it hard at a certain in the middle of that game, and I said, I'm not really enjoying the actual game itself that much. And then months later, because it came out in January of 2019. I didn't finish it until what was it, like October or something like that. I streamed it for Colby when I finished it.
Gotcha.
So
you could feel your tears.
Yeah. Well, yes, actually though, I was I was having.
I gotta deafen this dude. I gotta cry.
I was pretty emotional at the end of this game. As a I would say hardcore fan of the series, but I know that there are some people that would probably actually consider themselves hardcore fans of the series, and I try to understand everything that's going on, but it's still I often find myself having more questions than answers. But I don't think that affected the way I felt about this ending. It was really just everything about it visually interesting. The gameplay was interesting. I rushed myself into the end though, so I was underleveled for the last boss. I did beat it. Okay. But
It's just like a 7-phase boss. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
yeah, it's like I was like, hey, is this almost done? And Colby's like, nope. I'm like, okay. But that boss fight is awesome, and it was reminiscent of some of the my favorite boss fights in 1 and 2. I was really happy with it. Like it's so cool. I wish there was more of that portion of the game because it's so awesome. But oh man, I gotta get into spoilers with you because I'm gonna say
I don't
something.
care.
They're abstract enough. I'm sure
care.
you will have no
Basically-
idea.
All the X's, man, get it out of
So
here.
basically, and I'm a little bit far removed from actually watching it now, so I'm trying to remember the circumstances. But you finish that game, and Kyrie is where does Kyrie?
Kyrie gets killed by Xehanort.
Yeah, gets killed.
Straight up just killed.
Yeah, gets killed. So effectively,
Fuck yeah.
Sora ends up I guess the best way to describe it, just very shortly, is Sora ends up getting himself killed in order to save her, and saves her, and is dead. Sora
He
just
has a power where he can kind of jump into other deeper layers of
Into other Kingdom
yeah.
Hearts.
he,
I don't
basically
fucking know.
so
But
basically
he goes. Basically, if you're seeing as the reality they exist in is the top level, and
Yeah.
there's lower levels that are kind of dreams.
It is, I
realms.
straight up started crying because the scene in the end of this all happened off screen. Sora died off screen.
She dies in the final conflict, and then one of the last cutscenes of the game is he's I'm gonna go get her, and they're all do not do that.
yeah, and then
And he's no.
God.
I'm bringing her back one day where I'll be happy again. I'm getting her. This whole story is about me finally ending up with her. I'm going to get her. And then the final cutscene is they're all hanging out on the beach from the first game. Everyone's
on,
there.
Paradise
Sora and
Island or
her.
whatever.
She's sitting
Destiny
on a tree
Island.
side by side with him, and they all look up at her. And then he just fades away. He
yeah,
was never
they're
there.
they're ready to eat the fruit together.
And that is it. That is the
That's
end of
the
the game.
ending of the game?
Yeah,
What? Is there more?
There's one.
Yeah.
So I was telling you about the world ends with
No.
you.
Pulling some fucking Gurren Lagann shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I
wanna play
straight
them,
up,
though.
I'm
I'll play
getting
them.
I have goosebumps, and I'm I feel like I'm gonna cry right now.
Do it.
It made me super
Cry.
emotional because I didn't see it coming, and I thought it was a really really cool left turn for that for that.
That's a very dark ending.
Yeah, it's really dark, and I mean we have a cutscene that
Orlando Bloom in
there's
Pirates of the
there's the
Caribbean.
proud mode cutscene, of course. They always have the harder difficulty cutscene,
Right.
and it kind of shows
Now
that
you have
there's
to tell me, what happens in that?
If you know the game, The World Ends With You. It's about a game.
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, he told me about this.
Yeah. There's they're in that game. You're playing as kids who are in the afterlife, fighting to come back to
Oh,
life.
and Sora
And he's
appears
in, yeah, he's
And
in
is
that
it Riku in that
afterlife.
cutscene?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
it looks like he
fucking cool.
goes there to find it. I don't know. It's unclear, but it's
Fuck yeah, power metal ballad.
I thought
Credits
at
roll,
first,
baby.
I thought that scene was taking place in the fake Final Fantasy that they.
That's what I thought too.
In the Toy Story planet, there's a fake Final Fantasy that they that they're
Sora's trapped in the Toy Story Final Fantasy world.
I will say I think the Toy Story planet was my favorite planet, but that's because I loved seeing all the characters in Toy Story interact with Sora. I did not like real skin Sora in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh no, real skin Sora.
Real Skin Sora does not mess with my head as much as Real Feather Donald.
Yeah, yeah. It's just seeing them next to people, like they're human beings,
yeah.
Keira Knightley and Sora next to each other.
That's weird. That's weird. Oh man, Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Man.
But honestly, I mean, that planet, the art in that planet is incredible.
the
The
Pirates
Pirates of the
planet?
Caribbean planet looks awesome. It's the
I forgot that was a planet in this one.
Yeah.
I didn't play it,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
guess I didn't really know. But that's weird.
Yeah.
There's a Frozen planet too.
Yeah.
but
What are the planets in the game? Is it Toy Story, Frozen,
Tangled.
Tangled.
Why Tangled? Who gives a shit about Tangled?
It was a good planet,
This,
honestly.
fair enough.
we'll get, actually, this goes back to what Meals was talking about. That game is 90%, hey, we have to make a bunch of Disney stuff
Yeah.
to sell this.
Yeah.
And there will be no story.
And no Final Fantasy characters.
There's 20 hours where it's just you are playing Disney games.
Oh man.
That is it. And then it's 2 hours. It's hey, we've got all the Disney bullshit out of the way. Let's do Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
And it's fucking incredible for
That's
the last
crazy.
2
And they
hours.
dropped some of the Final Fantasy stuff. Like,
All of it.
All of it.
There's none. I think.
Yeah.
I think
Like
the
Tifa
DLC
doesn't
is
even
gonna
show
have
back
Yeah,
up.
the
Like,
DLC's
do they
bringing people
close it
back.
off in 2 or anything, or did they just like?
The creator was saying that like there's so many like Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy like crossover stuff happening that he didn't
Yeah.
feel the need to put Final Fantasy in it. There's no like story reason for it.
I just want to fight Sephiroth.
Yeah. Me too.
Oh well.
Well, I mean, there's certainly more Kingdom Hearts on the way because I mean, eventually,
There's not more Final Fantasy
So it's like
14
I think
or
we're
or
like
13.
maybe
3
just,
weeks.
or maybe
for
just
the-
another The World Ends with You. I guess. Maybe who knows?
That sounds good to me.
We're getting an expansion like a
Oh,
couple
maybe
weeks.
then I'll actually play that series.
Yeah. Well, I
We'll
don't-
see.
well-
They've been so vague as to what it actually is. I'm not putting money down
Yeah,
on it.
I mean,
until
like
it
they like
comes
had the
out.
itemized list of all the stuff, and like what was like the expensive version came with the.
the orchestra, like
And I was like,
concert.
I don't need that. It's gonna be on
Yeah.
YouTube. I'm
Does
sure.
it
like-
come with the real shit that everybody wants on vinyl? When you walk away,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't hear me say.
No, but like they put out the list of what the DLC
Ooh, baby.
includes,
Don't go.
and it's all like made up terminology, and everyone's like, "What?"
Yeah, like it's like
Oh, yeah.
it's like if you were just like, okay, so like I'm gonna give you like a list of things, but all of them are nonsense words.
Oh, I love it.
Like,
I love it. Oh man, sign me up for the collector's edition.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
You're gonna get 3 new Gleeble Glorps.
Yeah, you're gonna get a
your game.
fortiloscope in here too. Don't
Yeah.
forget about that. You'll need that to get through
Yeah.
the final flip flop level.
Like
Man.
it's hard to quantify what this DLC is going to be, but I mean the some of the free stuff seemed kind of interesting. I guess they're adding a Keyblade or 2 or whatever. I loved this game. I honestly was
play it
so
10 years
pissed
from
at
now.
it. I was so pissed at it. Like when I first got it, like I didn't talk about it much, but when I was like playing it, I was like, this game has a lot of cool things, but it doesn't have the things about Kingdom Hearts that I love, which are Final Fantasy and Disney in one thing.
I feel like this is gonna go off on a tangent. I feel like Kingdom Hearts is when Kingdom Hearts came out, you know those moments in life where you make a decision and like it's a very divergent point after that, and you create an alternate life.
I'll add to
Me
this
and
in a
my
second.
sister were fucking obsessed with Kingdom Hearts, but we had an Xbox. And like I always like every time I think about Kingdom Hearts, I think about how different my life would be if
you had the
I played
PlayStation
Kingdom
2.
Hearts, if I had a PlayStation 2, because my sister and I would straight up just sing together that song.
It's so good.
And look at Kingdom Hearts material. And whenever I saw Kingdom Hearts like at awards shows, I would always be like, "When you walk away," like singing the song along with it. But I like never played them until like 2 years ago, and I'm like, man, these are okay. But I only played the first one.
The
so it's
best
like,
Kingdom Hearts song. Just I want to put it out there since we're doing Game of the
the one I
Year.
keep singing.
Best Kingdom Hearts song ever written is the finale version of Sanctuary, not the first version of it. The version that plays at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2.
fair enough.
It's
But yeah, it's just
Going back to your timeline stuff.
Yes.
Here's the actual. I swear to God, this is true. Here's the actual like my version of that. Whenever it came out, like right after Kingdom Hearts 1 came out, it was getting towards Christmas. And my dad didn't know what to get me, but he knew he wanted to get me a game console. So he put a Toys R Us catalog in front of me. With the left side was the Xbox and the games that it had, and the right side was the PS2 and Kingdom Hearts and all the games it had. But Xbox was, and I was torn on this.
Halo.
Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Oh shit! I think you told me about this. What if Kobe was a huge Blinks guy now? Oh my god!
I struggled with this so bad, and I was
man,
like,
dude.
I really want to play Kingdom Hearts, so I'm going to do that.
man,
See, the thing
you
is
lucked out.
I feel like Blinks the Time Sweeper could exist in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, my divergent point there though was.
Did you ever get to play Blinks?
I did. I think I rented it from GameStop, and I was
Because we were like,
Blockbuster,
do we want a PlayStation 2 or do we want an Xbox? And for me, it was I want to play fucking Turok Evolution on Xbox. That game is still very good. Major side point. That game has a fucking gun that you charge up, and it charges up little drill missiles, and when you let go, it shoots a bunch of them at the enemy, and it drills into them, and then one by one, I was like 8 years old playing this game, one by one, blows their limbs off
Yeah.
until they're just a torso shaking around, and then the head explodes, and then it flops over.
Yo, Turok rules, but it's not on my list this year.
It's in my honorable mentions. I would play like this one level with that gun and just walk around just being like, ooh, and just, anyway. To rock.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is the number 2 on my list for 2019. It is the game that I almost never played again after like 10 hours, but I finished it and I adored it. It was so good. If you are in the same position I was in of saying, hey, should I pick this up and finish it? And you somehow also missed all of the spoilers we just made about the ending, you should absolutely finish that game because it is incredible.
Yeah. As somebody on a podcast that I listen to says, I actually already forgot the quote, so let's move on.
It's a weird thing to say.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's weird that they said that, and it also didn't have anything to do with what we were talking about.
It was something about it's not how it happens, or it's not what happens, it's how it happens. But
Yeah.
sometimes my brain just farts.
It's not about the journey or the destination; it's about the journey.
Hey, at least it's not live, boys.
Yeah,
Please. Yeah, we're gonna
Joey's
need big
definitely-
spoiler tags.
Joey's
on
not
some
going
of
to
this.
scrub through an hour and a half of footage to edit out that thing that he forgot. He already forgot he said in this. That is everything on my list except for my second honorable mention, which was just Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, and I don't have to talk about it anymore. So there you
I
go.
also have that as an honorable mention.
Yeah.
I'm currently a little disappointed in it, so we're not going to talk about
I'm
it.
loving it, but I also have a problem.
I'm
so.
still loving the game because I don't play as much as you guys.
Sorry
so every
about
time
that.
I play, I have like.
I'm the only one here that's
a
playing it
ton of-
currently.
A ton of shit to do. I play like once a week. But
Yeah, I'm like done with that. For now.
I play like a day a week in hours.
Yeah.
It's bad.
My game of the year, I knew was going to be my game of the year 2 years before it came out because I played it at PAX.
Well, actually, hold on a second. How many of Colby's games have we gone through?
All of them
No.
because it's time to talk.
Do you
about
have
it.
one as well?
I know.
Well, hold
I'm
on.
kidding.
I have.
I want to
I
make sure
did
that
Outer Worlds, Sekiro,
Control.
Control.
is Kingdom Hearts on your list.
It's not. It's
Oh.
an honorable mention though.
Oh.
I didn't play a lot
I
of games
think
this
your
year.
number 1 is my number 3,
Ugh. Disgusting.
and then I haven't talked about my game of the year yet, so
Okay.
we can get to that. But we can talk about your.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah. My game of the year is fucking Outer Wilds.
Okay.
That game. Played it at.
Not the Outer Worlds.
Yeah, played it at 2017 PAX, the first PAX I went to, and I was like, this game was made for me. That was right at the heat of my like Elite Dangerous time too, so I was like really good at space flying games, and I find this game that's like a space flying game where you're exploring a teeny little handcrafted universe and all the planets are different, and spoiler alert starts right now, time resets every 22 minutes because the sun goes supernova and destroys the fucking galaxy. What? That's really cool.
You finished this game, right?
Oh yeah.
Can I bring up the thing that I heard about this game?
Yes.
It's okay. So
Wait, you finished it too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we talked about it.
One
Yeah,
of the points that I heard talked about that like started making me emotional was like there's a character that's like analyzing all of like the supernovas that are happening in the universe.
Yes.
And if you check in with this character throughout a run over and over, they get increasingly worried about the inevitable end of that universe because they are saying they're like, oh, a few of these popped off
Yeah.
right now.
I don't know who that is.
But but like if you check in with them like 10 minutes into a run and then like 18,
might be
they're like,
somebody on
they're
your
like,
home planet.
They're like, oh my god, the universe is ending.
Yeah.
And
There were that game like consistently continued to just like fucking blow me away. Like it was like because I played it at 2017 PAX and it was like in a good state. And then we came back to 2018 PAX and we heard that it was like the full game. So I was like stoked.
oh
to
yeah,
try this
like
out.
we like both you and I like I went and played Sayonara Wild Hearts
Yeah.
and you sat down like there was this open booth for the Outer Wilds.
Yeah.
And
what's the time limit?
Outer Wilds, not the and like you were just like sitting down and you're like, if I just sit here all day, I'm gonna finish this game.
Yeah,
So like
it was oh my god, and I would not have been able to because I didn't expect the game to be as long lasting
It's
as
like
it was
30
and
hours
as like
almost.
impactful as it was. It's just like on your journey to like uncover like what happened to it's just got such a good like little hook at the beginning, and then it keeps sinking things in as you find little like scriptures of like the previous race that came
the
before you.
Nomai.
And there are all these mysteries. And it's like it's just perfect storytelling because every single thing is connected to some other thing that happens somewhere else in the galaxy, and like that it's every you don't gain any new tools as you're playing, like you don't gain any like new abilities, like all you do is you just like learn the whole game. And it's like mapping out all the locations you're visiting and all the notes you're taking, and like slowly over time you're getting this like beautiful narrative of like an ancient race that couldn't stop the end of their species, but they were trying to stop like or recognize like the end of the universe, and like that loads into like your race and like why like what their struggle is. And it was just like,
oh man, hearing the end
it's-
of this game described made me tear up.
And it's sad because if I went back and played it right now, it wouldn't have the same charm, because it's the kind of game where like if you beat the game, you can start it up again and then just beat it immediately.
Yeah,
it's all just knowledge.
It's like
It's like Morrowind.
no, what's that other puzzle game that where you're on the island, The Witness?
Oh, The Witness.
Yeah,
Right.
Like from what I understand, because I haven't played The Witness, but it's like by the time you're at the end of The Witness, the island is a completely different thing in your brain because you have such a greater understanding of like the puzzle structure and like the way that world works.
Just and you start learning about these characters from a civilization that doesn't exist anymore, and like it was so well written and so well connected to all of the other pieces that like matter to your species too, that like I genuinely started to care about the character names that were popping up. Like as you uncover more of their story, you're like, the whole time I'm like, maybe there's a chance they're alive somewhere, or like maybe there's a chance that like something in this galaxy like I can fix and like reset everything, and like this species can still exist and like mine can exist. And then there's just, and that's all just the narrative details.
Yeah.
And then there's like the visual details of like two planets where like one is just like a gravity core and the other one is like sand, and like over time they orbit around each other, and the sand eventually pools onto the other planet and begins to like fill in caves on the other one. But while that one's draining, other caves are starting to appear that you can explore and find other things out. There's like,
Are those the twins?
yeah, there's a moment where you start to like, I started to notice, oh, like the sky's getting darker.
Yeah.
Like what's going on? Because the whole universe is dying. And there's a point in the story where you realize the entire universe is dying, and it's not just your fucking galaxy. But you can, if you zoom in on a star and wait for it long enough, you just watch it explode and then fade away. And it happens for all of the stars in the sky. So at the start of your run, it's like you've got this beautiful universe that you can explore, and like there's so many stars in the distance and there's so many like planets, and it's like simultaneously you start to like demystify these planets and like demystify the things that are going on around you, but like you're also ramping up your curiosity like so hard. And eventually it just becomes like, for me it was like a vertical cliff where like I was like at work thinking about problems in the
Talking
game.
to me about it.
And I was texting Colby, and I hope you remember the one day that I was like, Colby, I remember the laws of this like one
the
thing,
looking up
this
thing.
one mechanic. No, there's another
I
thing in the
remember
game
this.
where I was like, there's one mechanic in the game, and they explain these laws to you, and there's like a place you can go where this mechanic really matters, and like where like light matters, and like where you are positionally matters. And I was like, Colby, based on these 3 rules, if you go to this place, do this specific thing, don't leave yet, and then like go do this other thing.
You can talk about it.
There's the quantum moon, which like you have
that's
to take a picture
that's kind of like
of.
the end area,
There's
right?
a quantum moon, and not really, because it was like the second planet I went to.
Right, but
'cause I
like
figured out how to
it's
get
like
to
where
it.
like the end, or like where like you can get credits, right?
Exactly. Kind of. There's also some shit that people didn't even see on the quantum moon when they finished the game, which is really fucking cool. But it's the thing that I figured out, and I was stoked about it, because there's when you go to the quantum moon, there's a big pillar. And you go into the pillar, and if you close all the doors and you turn off your flashlight and you turn it back on, the pillar moves to a different place that the quantum moon is tied to. So it's tied to all of the planets that are in the solar system.
Right.
And then there's a fifth, or like there's another thing that doesn't pertain to any of the planets in the solar system, which you eventually come to realize through finding out stuff around the game, that it's the eye of the universe, which is what this ancient species is trying to find. So you can go to the eye of the universe, but there's nothing there. You just like run around and stuff like that. And so I don't even remember like exactly what I told you to do, but I was like sending Colby directions on how to activate the Eye of the Universe portion, or no, because when you are in your base tower and you activate the switch to go to the Eye of the Universe, you would open the door and it would be blocked. And so I was like, Colby, what if you go to one of the other planets that the quantum moon is tied to, go to the other side, because if you lose track of the tower, it disappears and then reappears somewhere else that you're looking. So I was like, what if you lose track of the tower, move to the other side of the moon, and then find it on the other side of the moon, and then go to the Eye of the Universe section, and it fucking worked. And if you open it up, there's a member of that species still alive.
The Nomai,
that's like trapped there. And he gives you this like information that is like, some people that finished the game just never met him and like didn't connect some things. And it's just like, I haven't played a game that has puzzles like that where I could go home and just think about the base rules that they gave me and like theory craft like that and like figure out like based on the laws of like quantum physics how you could like get them. Hello. I'm sure you're wondering what the fuck is going on. And that's exactly what we were thinking when we looked at our Game of the Year episode and found out there was about 45 minutes of footage missing. Turns out, when you get a new method of recording things, you should clear the hard drives before you start, or at least know when your drives are going to fill up, because we lost the ending. But fear not, because I've been asked by the Home Button Academy to name the Home Button's Game of the Year. Forget what Colby was going to say for his Game of the Year. I was just caught right in the middle of my Outer Wilds talk, and I don't even remember if Emilio got to say what his Game of the Year is. I think he did, but let's not make a repeat of last year, and let's just get right to it. The Home Button Game of the Year for 2019 is Control. As you can tell, we were all super jazzed about Control when we were talking about it, and we realized at the end of the episode that if we had to pick a commonality between the three of us, it was going to be the fact that we all played and finished and really fucking loved Control. So sorry that we screwed up the end of that episode, but as you can see, we're really just making the most of it. So, as always, thanks for watching the Home Button, and I hope you join us next time. I don't know what we're going to be playing as usual, but I swear it'll be a good time. And this will never happen again.